Say anything of my presidency, and to say of my predecessor's presidency, I would say of my predecessor, he ruled better than I. I can admit that. Mr. Fulton ruled better than I did. Or have, I should say. I was merely a servant then. Now our country is large, and her challenges continue to become more challenging as time goes on. We have faced many things. I have faced many things during my presidency. My 2 terms as president have been difficult, and it's been hard. I will not say that my presidency hasn't had its problems. And I have been at times, idiotic ruler. I can admit that too. Our nation has grown exponentially during my presidency. But neither my predecessor or I are completely responsible for our expansion. It should go to Miss Smith, and when I was only her vice president. Under her presidency, the nation, which was only Claretown then, expanded peaceably as possible. During that time, we had many enemies. But as I would say enemies now, we have many enemies. And we have faced many threats together. The thuggish raids seem to be gone, but we have been led into a false sense of security like that before. I do not believe they are gone forever. They will eventually come back. Though I believe by that time, there will not be a nation. At least not a unified one. And why do I speak like that? Of a divided nation. Why is that a conclusion? That the nation will be divided? I get this conclusion from watching many of the cities. And watching Allison and Dawson City lose governors and basically going dark. Allison is barely apart. Dawson City is ruled by Claretown till further notice to make sure that governing is kept. But Dawson City was Allison City's elder and helper. Meaning without the representative of Dawson City, both cities go dark. And they went dark and are dark. I look across a nation that started as a dream. and a few young kids, an 11-year-old, 9-year-old, and 8-year-old, trying to, at the time, form a nation. Though at the time, I believe none of us then would believe if we went and told ourselves back then that our nation would continue into a decade in the 20s. I think we would all have been thinking, you're insane. There are other founders who disagree and have always considered the nation to be a long-lasting thing. Our nation, as I said before in a speech I gave to our countrymen and to you, I spoke that our nation will not last forever. No nation does. And this is true. No matter how strong a nation is, it will eventually fall. The arrogant nations are thrown down. The humble nations are lifted up. And sometimes a nation which is proud and arrogant is turned into hell. You know, I've been reading 2 Samuel, and something today I realized. David didn't kill the one who was cursing him, who was from the house of Saul. Saul, the previous king of Israel and Judah, but Judah followed David. So there was a time during David's reign where his son rose up against his father. And instead of David speaking and killing Saul's family member who was throwing rocks, dust, and cursing David, David said, well, maybe the Lord will look upon the cursing that is done today, and it may be for good. But David didn't curse or kill that servant, though his servant was going to, if David would have said, yeah, just chop off his head for his cursing, I think things would have went differently. But David used discretion, and he had a close relationship with God. Every nation has a weakness. Leaders are chosen and put into positions of power by the people, of course, but ultimately, God has all the authority. All the authority. all things work for good to them that love God, to them that are the called according to his purpose. And I'll leave you all with this. Our nation is a nation that she has went through many things during many great leaders. I would like to say, on behalf of my predecessors, Miss Smith was not qualified to rule. If she would have been given help, more help, she could have had a stronger rule. To my predecessor, Mr. Fulton, we are friends, and you know that I respect you. Your ruling of the nation, I would have to say, you have ruled the nation that I was given after thee better than I. I have ruled it foolishly. I have ruled it, for the most part, unadvisedly. And to my fellow countrymen who have odds with one another, make peace now, whilst ye have a leader who will seek peace. Make peace now. I directly will speak to Corby and Buckwheat. Buckwheat, you are supposed to be Corby's brother. You're supposed to help her. And yet ye have lied to her. This bothers me. Why would you lie to your sister? Why would you bear false witness of your sister? Now, I will say your sister isn't innocent. I'm not going to pretend Corby has been innocent. I know what Corby has done. I have seen it. But I have also seen you. How your people have in past times stolen from myself even. But the biggest insult, son of Buckwheat, that you have ever given would have to be when you spoke bad about a deceased family member of my family. I will tell you this: do not mess with my family. Don't even threaten my family, because after that, my hands are off. My hands are off. I will not then, but eventually will avenge that insult. Or if you insult your brethren, or ye beat your brethren, as you are occasioned to do. But you have also been good as well. I have seen it too. When your brother, Evan, decided to rebel and declare war on you, you held not back. Ye punished them where Claretown couldn't. I will not say you have been all bad. but ye have stolen many a thing. Ye have beaten, ye have caused many to fall into confusion. Ye speak with cursings. And my biggest problem with thee is your idol worship. Many of your statesmen and your rulers even, many of them, not all of them, believe in blood gods. You believe in blood gods and elementals? I'll tell you something. There's only one God. There's only one God. And your gods are but stone and wood. If ye so believe that they will save thee. If they will, let them save thee. If they are gods, which they aren't, let them save thee. But I have one more thing to say in closing. Fellow countrymen, our nation will not last forever. As I have said before, our nation will not last forever. Neither will John Max last forever, though they speak so proudly, and to make a confederation to go against them that were at peace with them, and to the NFRK, who seeks to fight John Max as well. Consider ye nations. Consider ye the course of your nations. If your nation, your city, your people are on the wrong track, leaders, you are an example. You are a servant. You serve your people. That's what you ought to do. The MK Nation is a great nation who has been gifted with winning battle after battle and now winning peace. And we are glad for them that they can live in peace as others have lived in peace. As for John Max's hope to confederate against the nation of TK, I have one word. Do not try. Maybe you spoke out of stupidity. Well, we do not hold it against thee yet. But if ye so do what you have said to make a confederate, to be confederate against us, no, we will show you. We will show you that we see that as a threat to our own countrymen and to our own safety. And aren't we all cousins? Let us therefore come together as cousins and as rulers and as friends to make peace with one another. If peace cannot endure, let us therefore fight. But only if peace cannot endure. Let us not fight because of stupidity. Let us not insult each other because of how someone looks. I speak directly to the leaders of the NFRK on that. They spoke very rudely to the leaders and people of Dorcas. You all are a great people. I hope you prosper. I hope all the nations prosper. But let us never be too proud or too arrogant to not see that we are but men. Let us never be puffed up, so puffed up. Anyway, my fellow countrymen, sleep in peace whilst we have peace. For peace is not a certainty, but heavenly peace. Heavenly peace is sweet. Thank you.